November 21, 11 o'clock. So I made this tool using a plumb line. It will be used to measure estimates the flow rate coming out of a pipe. So I'm going to Munoz to actually test it out and then do some calculation. So I tied it at the 1 inch mark, and that being my 0 point, then the bending of the water will be at this point. So measuring the bend of the water, for example, this is the pipe. So I will measure the bend and 13 inches down at the plumb. So measuring this point and wherever the start of the pipe ends or start, then that would be the X and then the Y coordinates, or the X distance and Y distance. Y is the drop and X is the for example, the water start from here, that would be X, for example. So using this method of estimating water flow rates with a pipe and free flow, looking at measuring the difference or distance from the bend, from the outlet of the pipe to the bend, and the equation then becomes Q is equal to 3.61 area X over square root Y. Since the Y is always 13 inches, the changes would be X, and that would give us the value of flow rate. It's 11:30, so I'm here in Munoz, and there's two things I want to do: measure the flow rate and then measure the voltage drop along that wire that goes to the submersible. I'm curious. So I measured the voltage between the two. It's 370 volts or 369 volts. And I'm going over there by the submer and measure the voltage there. So I'm measuring this tool. Weird. I'm measuring 379. This thing is measuring 369 or 370. So to do that kind of change means while I was walking away from the solar to here, the sun increased intensity. Anyway, with this kind of voltage, the line drop or line loss is fairly small. It's at 400 RPM. Current is 6.9 amps. Watt is at 2.5. For this to work at full, it would be at 3000 watt. The thing is, it's fairly hot. I need to have some way to cool the control box. The control box, how it runs the motor is it throttle it up and down. So at 362 volts, 400 RPM, and 400 watts, I can hear the motor throttle up and down. So I'm going to measure the outflow of this pipe by using the meter stick. So how it's done is the plumb line is the point is hitting where it bends. Only one person here, and then And then the starting measurement from it's 29 and a half minus 1, so it's 28 and a half. So I'm going to do some calculation at home. So remeasuring this voltage, it's 371. It's because of the sun. So 360 at the solar, at the panel control box, 370 here. So a 10 volt drop. Later on, I'll calculate the resistance of the cable at 75 meters. So I measured this toe point. The voltage is 369. So by the looks of it, there isn't a large voltage drop on the cable. So that's according to my calculation with this cable. The voltage drop would be around 0.6 for 75 meters. So yeah, and this voltage changes because of the RPM being throttled. As you can see, it's 3100 and the amps is lower. So because of the temperature of this, it needs to make sure that it's not going to overheat and go thermal. That's why it's important to later on put in a cooling fan here in the housing also. I really don't want this to get overly hot, and I'm thinking how to do this, how to make it not overly hot. So we'll see how it goes. It's 12:20, so I'm here in Villa and I'm going to check the outflow of this submer. So we're going to take a look at what's the voltage right now with 8 panel. The RPM is at 3400, voltage is 335, amps is 7, it's at max 2500 watts. So we'll measure the outflow of this meter. Sorry, we'll measure the outflow of this submer. This is what it looks like. Now we're going to measure what this thing is like. It's at 36 inches minus 1, 35 inches. So I'll put that into the computer and calculate the outflow of this submersible. So comparing this submer with Munoz with 35 inches versus 28 and a half inches. That's Munoz. So this has more or greater outflow than the one in Munoz. Now the borewell is 6, and so the recharge rate will be different. Well, it's kind of hard to set up the measurement, so we're just going to estimate what the flow rate is like. Well, I'm estimating it to be 19 and a half, so 18 and a half in the X direction. When it's not like this, I'll come back to remeasure the outflow again. So we are in Manga, so we're going to measure the outflow of this. It's 18, so 17. X is 17. So I'm now going to input all of the data and see what the estimated outflow of each submersible is. So the data that I gathered from the rice field are in Excel sheet. So for Munoz, the distance was 28.5, which translate to 20 cubic meter per hour. The two Submersibles and Villa, the other one was 35, which translate to 24 or 25 cubic meter per hour. And the Franklin Gold is 13 cubic meter per hour. And the one in Manga, which is Lawson, anyway, it's a different solar pump, and the outflow is 12 cubic meter per hour. So the one in Villa, it's rated 36 cubic meter per hour. However, it's actually 5 cubic meter per hour less. The one in Munoz was rated at 41 cubic meter per hour. However, the output is half, and it's because it's inside a 4-inch casing. Maybe if it's inside a 6-inch casing, it would be going to 40 cubic meter per hour. The Franklin Gold, I believe it's rated at 12. Anyway, because my estimate measurement were that it's estimate. However, the numbers are within the ballpark that I was looking at, so this is good. I'm happy with this data. Thanks for watching.